Hello students, welcome to this class of BA Part First English Literature. I am Dr.S.S.Vaidwan, Department of English, and today, dear students, we'll discuss important character of the play Merchant of Venice, and today we'll discuss the character sketch of Antonio. Antonio is one of the most important character in this play Merchant of Venice. He is such an important character of the play, Merchant of Venice, that the play is named after him. He is the real merchant. Venice is none but Antonio. He is the merchant of Venice. Though he is not the dominating figure, dominating character of the play, he is the real hero of the play, as his role is of passive nature. In him, Shakespeare has created a devoted businessman, an ideal friend, a dedicated Christian, a perfect man possessed with the milk of human kindness. In order to determine his role in the play, we need an assessment of major traits of his character. Antonio is possessed with passive nature, and some of the critics they say that this passivity in his character is due to his mental and physical constitution, while others say that because he has to play the role of the hero in the play, he must have some striking flaw, and it is his passivity. So in this particular play, The Merchant of Venice, the passivity of Antonio is the tragic flaw. The play is swept with various instances of Antonio's passivity. For instance, when Bassanio points out the evil meeting of Shylock behind the bond, Antonio does not seem to believe or care at all. He blindly signs the bond. So, this reveals his passivity. Even in the court, when everybody is filled with anxiety about his fate, he does not bother at all and stands perfectly calm and indifferent to the coming calamity. Even when the court declares the decree in his favor, he remains cool and indifferent. So, another very important characteristic of his character. In the last scene of the play, when Portia and Nerissa quarrel with their husbands for the rings, Antonio simply says, I quote, I am the happy subject of these quarrels. So, his another important trait of his character is his melancholy. From the very opening of the play, Antonio is pointed lost in gloom and despair. He talks about his sadness in the opening lines of the play. I quote, In sooth, I know not why I am so sad. It wearies me. So, the very opening lines of the play reveals his melancholy. Antonio is a true philosopher, and his melancholy is perhaps a part of his nature. He says in the philosophic tone, I quote, I hold the world, but as the world, Gratiano, a stage where every man must play a part, and mine is a sad one. This he admits to Gratiano. These lines show Antonio as a man of serious and reserved nature, who is never in a light or merry mood. He is a serious person. Even in the most comic and hilarious atmosphere of the ring episode, he remains serious and himself to be the sole cause of all quarrel between Portia and Bassanio. But he is really a very confident man, and his self-confidence is reflected in various episodes of the play. Antonio is possessed with undue self-confidence. Undoubtedly, self-confidence is a gift of God to man, but excess of everything is bad. When a person possessed with self-confidence becomes careless, he is liable to become a victim, and Antonio is one of them. He is liable to become a victim to various risks and dangers. Antonio becomes the victim of the same fate. Even after repeated warnings by Bosenio not to sign the bond with a pound of flesh from his chest, Antonio not only signs it but also assures Bosenio with great confidence. I quote, "Why, fear not, man, I will not forfeit it within 2 months, that is a month before this bond expires. I do expect return of thrice 3 times the value of this bond." So he is very confident. It is nothing but the forfeiture of the bond that creates all the adversities in his life. It is his excessive sense of security and self-confidence that takes him totally unguarded, and he finds himself in danger. And the danger is very serious, the danger of his life. He shows a deep sense of communal bias against the Jew. It is also reflected in his character, particularly for Shylock, a Jew. Undoubtedly, his hatred for Shylock is due to usury. He is intolerant to the Jews like other Christians. Shylock often complains that Antonio insults him and abuses him, and his race publicly calls him a dog and spits upon his beard and Jewish dress. So, a very serious charge uh, levied by Shylock against Antonio. Even when he asks for a loan from Shylock, he talks in a foul, abusive language and says, "I am as like to call thee a dog, so again to spit on thee again." So this reveals a drastic flaw in the character of Antonio, his hatred towards Jews. This statement of Antonio shows his bias and narrow mindedness. But besides this, Antonio is an ideal friend, as for the sake of Bosenio, he signs the bond. Antonio is the perfect example of a true and ideal friend. If he has any claim to be called the hero of the play, it is on the ground of his true and flawless sense of friendship, a true friend in need. He knew that Bosenio is a reckless waster of money, yet he readily agrees to arrange money for his expedition to Belmont. And he says, I quote, "My purse, my person, my extremist means lie all unlocked to your occasions." So he is really a great friend, a friend who is there standing in the hour of need. Even when Antonio is prosecuted for failure of his bond, he never disturbs Bosenio at Belmont except before the trial scene in the court. His letter to Bosenio truly illustrates his ideal friendship. I quote, "Sweet Bosenio, my ships have all miscarried. My creditors grow cruel. My state is very low. My bond to the Jew is forfeit. And since in paying it, it is impossible that I should live, all debts are cleared between you and I. I might see you at my death." So, a clear indication he doesn't hide anything from Bosenio, and he writes it all in the letter but never asks Bosenio to pay the amount at any cost. Antonio's will, or we can say that he is willing to die for the sake of friendship. His willingness to help his friend even when he himself was in great sorrow truly separates him from the other characters of the play. He really is an unselfish character who suffers for the welfare of others, his friends. He is the embodiment of true friendship, and that is why the play has been named after him, The Merchant of Venice. A.W. rightly remarks, I quote, "The only man in the play, nay, in Venice, who would do both things is Antonio, in whom friendship has become almost a passion and self renunciation a second nature." So, with this, we wind up with the character sketch of Antonio. Dear students, I hope you have understood it, and I advise you to memorize it. And in the next class, we'll talk about another important character of the play, Merchant of Venice. Thank you very much.